Every year, somewhere around March, a very specific kind of travel fantasy takes hold of people. They picture Iceland in summer. Green cliffs, midnight sun, puffins, a camper van on an empty road with nothing but sky and lava fields in every direction. It looks exactly like the photos. It looks, frankly, like the best decision they've ever made. So they book it. Flights, rental car, a few guest houses along the ring road. June or July, because that's when the sun barely sets and the weather is as good as Iceland ever gets. And then they arrive and discover that approximately 400,000 other people had the exact same fantasy at the exact same time. This video is not here to tell you Iceland in summer is bad. It isn't. But it is here to tell you that summer is the most overhyped season in Iceland by a significant margin, that there are two other windows that deliver a dramatically better experience for most travelers, and that the reasons people avoid those windows are based almost entirely on myths that don't hold up when you actually look at the numbers. Let's start with what summer in Iceland actually looks like on the ground. The midnight sun is real, and it is genuinely remarkable. Watching the sky glow gold at 2 in the morning is one of those experiences that rewires your sense of time in a way that's hard to explain until you've felt it. That part lives up to the hype. Everything else is more complicated. July is Iceland's peak season, and it shows in ways that go beyond crowded parking lots. The Golden Circle, Ingvellir, Geyser, Gullfoss, processes thousands of visitors a day. The roads to popular waterfalls like Skogafoss and Seljalandsfoss are backed up with camper vans. The famous black sand beach at Rianistra has safety incidents almost every summer because the volume of visitors exceeds the beach's ability to communicate its actual danger. Accommodation along the ring road books out months in advance and costs 2 to 3 times what the same room runs in October or February. And here's the part that really changes the calculation. Iceland's most iconic visual, the Northern Lights, is completely invisible in summer. The sky never gets dark enough. You are paying peak prices, navigating peak crowds, and you have removed from the table the single most spectacular thing Iceland can show you. That's not a bad trade for everyone, but it's worth understanding clearly before you decide it's the only time to go. Let's talk about what most people actually want from Iceland, because that question does a lot of work here. If the answer is hiking, real, extended, backcountry hiking, then summer is the correct answer. The Highlands open up in late June. The Lagaveggur Trail, one of the great multi-day treks in Europe, is only accessible from late June to early September. The F-roads that cut through the interior require four-wheel drive and are simply closed outside of summer. If the landscape you came for is the green, volcanic interior, you need to be there between June and August. If the answer is the Northern Lights, summer is the wrong answer. Full stop. If the answer is dramatic landscapes, waterfalls, coastal scenery, geysers, and the general visual vocabulary of Iceland that most people have in their heads when they book the trip, those exist in every season. The waterfall doesn't care what month it is. The lava fields look extraordinary under October clouds. The Jökulsárlón Glacier Lagoon, where icebergs drift slowly toward the sea, is if anything more atmospheric in the gray light of autumn than under a bright summer sky. If the answer is, I want the whole thing as few other tourists as possible at a reasonable price, then you're looking at either late September to early November or late January to early March. And both of those windows deserve a proper argument. September and October are what summer in Iceland promises to be and rarely fully delivers. The crowds have thinned considerably. School holidays are over. The camper vans have largely gone home. You can stop at a waterfall and actually stand in front of it without negotiating your position with 40 strangers. Accommodation prices drop by 30 to 50% from their July peak. The landscape shifts into something genuinely cinematic. The mosses turn deeper green. The skies get more dramatic. The light in the late afternoon is the kind that makes even mediocre photographers look talented. And the Northern Lights start to come back. Aurora activity requires darkness, and Iceland starts getting real darkness again in September. By October, you have enough night sky to make Aurora hunting genuinely viable. You're not guaranteed a show. Nobody can promise you that, but you're in the window where it becomes possible, and that possibility changes the emotional texture of the entire trip. You go to bed wondering. You set an alarm. You step outside at midnight and either see nothing or see something you'll spend the rest of your life trying to describe accurately. The main thing people worry about with autumn is weather. And yes, Iceland in October can be cold, windy, and wet. But here's the thing, Iceland in July can also be cold, windy, and wet. The island sits in the North Atlantic. It doesn't owe anyone sunshine. The average July temperature in Reykjavik is around 12 degrees Celsius. October averages around 6. That's a real difference, and you should pack accordingly, but it's not the survival situation people imagine. A good waterproof layer and a willingness to embrace the drama of gray skies takes you a long way. The winter window, specifically late January through February and into early March, is where Iceland becomes a completely different kind of trip, and the one that tends to produce the most unexpectedly devoted converts. Winter in Iceland has a reputation problem. People hear polar darkness and picture something bleak and punishing. The reality is more nuanced and, for the right traveler, genuinely magical. Yes, you have limited daylight. In January, Reykjavik gets around 5 hours of actual sun. But those 5 hours tend to be extraordinary. The sun rises late, moves low across the horizon, and the light it produces, golden, angular, long-shadowed, is the light photographers specifically fly to Iceland to find. You don't lose the landscape in winter. You get a different version of it, one that most of the world never sees because they've been told it isn't worth the trip. The northern lights in winter are at their statistical peak. Dark skies from mid-afternoon onward means you have a long window to watch, wait, and occasionally get completely ambushed by a sky that turns green and white and occasionally purple while you're standing in a field in complete disbelief. February also has the advantage of sitting in a sweet spot between the deepest cold of January and the spring shoulder traffic that starts creeping back in March. Waterfalls in winter grow ice formations around their edges. The glacier lagoon at Jökulsárlón has icebergs that sometimes freeze into the surrounding ice, creating something that looks like a scene from a different planet. The geothermal pools, including but not limited to the Blue Lagoon, feel like a completely different experience when the air temperature is -5 and you're watching steam rise into a dark sky. And prices in February are about as low as Iceland gets. Flights, accommodation, rental cars. Everything is significantly cheaper than the summer equivalent. For a destination with Iceland's general price level, that gap matters. There's one practical thing worth addressing before you decide, because it comes up every time this conversation happens. Road conditions. Winter driving in Iceland is serious. The ring road stays mostly open year-round, but ice, snow, and sudden weather changes are real factors. The Icelandic Road and Coastal Administration publishes real-time road conditions online, and it's not a suggestion to check it. It's a non-negotiable part of planning any winter day trip. Rental cars in winter require four-wheel drive with winter tires, which adds to the cost but is not optional. There are days in January and February where the right decision is simply not to drive, and a good itinerary builds in enough flexibility to accommodate that. This is less terrifying than it sounds, but it requires a mindset shift. Summer in Iceland lets you be spontaneous. Winter asks you to be slightly more attentive. The reward for that attentiveness is a version of the country that summer visitors will never see. So here's how to actually think about when to go. If hiking the Highlands or the Lagaveggur Trail is the reason you're going, summer is correct, and you should book it without guilt. Just book accommodation early, arrive before the main July rush if you can, and accept the crowds as part of the package. If the northern lights are on your list, cross summer off entirely and choose between September through October or January through February based on your tolerance for cold and darkness. Both windows work. October gives you more daylight to see the landscape. February gives you more darkness to see the lights and lower prices on almost everything. If you want the Iceland of dramatic skies, empty roads, surreal landscapes, and the feeling that you've arrived somewhere genuinely remote, that Iceland exists most clearly outside of summer. It's been there the whole time. It's just been slightly undersold. The tourists who come back from Iceland saying it changed how they think about travel almost never went in July. That's worth sitting with before you book. And if you're now wondering about the logistics of a winter trip, what to pack, which roads are actually safe, and whether the Blue Lagoon is worth it in February or just an expensive warm bath. That's exactly what the next video covers. Thanks for watching. If you found this useful, smash that like button and subscribe to When to Travel. We're all about helping you make smarter travel decisions. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. And hey, if you think your friends need this, share it. Comment below with your next destination or your biggest travel question. I'm reading all of them. Let's go.